Hello world, 30 and blowing here in Santa Fe. I want you to enter a raffle, but before we get to the raffle, I need to give you a little history. My first bike was a gold speckled Schwinn with a white banana seat and handlebars that went like this. This was rural Indiana. We had a gravel driveway and dirt roads. And that bike, when you hit a certain speed, got the death wobble and I would fall over and crash. But I just kept getting up. I loved this bicycle. The bike was a way, it was my Millennium Falcon. It was a way for me to keep up with my brother and keep away from my older sister. But I also grew up during a time of a television program called Happy Days. And Happy Days had a character named Arthur Fonzarelli, also known as the Fonz. And for me, at this point in my life, mid-70s, rural Indiana, the epitome of cool was Arthur Fonzarelli. I wanted to be the Fonz. And for some reason, the way that I figured out how to do this in my twisted little head was that I would ride my sister's bike, which was called a Lil Chick. Not a little chick, a Lil Chick. And at one point, it had a white plastic basket on the handlebars covered with flowers and streamers off the handlebars. That was even a bit too much for me, and I knew the Fonz wouldn't be down with that. So I got rid of the basket, I got rid of the streamers, but I would ride around on this bike and I would pose doing the "ay" thumbs up that Fonzie used to do. Thankfully, my mom was there with her Pentax K1000 and Kodachrome to document this moment forever. And by the way, hipsters, look at my fashion. This is rural Indiana, not exactly the pinnacle. This isn't Paris. So I think hipsters are going to be jealous of that fashion. But the bike to me has been transformative my entire life. Yesterday I did not a huge ride, I did a 30-mile ride here in Santa Fe. It was one of the nicest rides I've been on in a long time. There was no wind, perfect temperature, and it is such a thrill. And I remember yesterday just dropping down on the trail system, sort of like a little mini flow section of a trail, and I just thought, how lucky am I that I have this ability to do this, and all I need is a bicycle to do it. So with this in mind, I want to introduce you to two people and two organizations. The first is a YouTuber slash athlete out of Boulder, Colorado named Ryan Van Duzer. I don't know Ryan, I've never spoken to him. We've exchanged a couple of emails over the years, but that's the extent of our communication. Ryan is a spokesperson and a sponsored athlete by a company called Priority Bikes. We will get back to Priority in a minute. The second person I need to introduce you to is Ryan's friend named Dana. And if you've ever watched any of Ryan's films, you'll know Dana is a doer. Dana is, I think, a restaurant owner in Boulder, and she, I want to say she either lost a kidney or she donated a kidney. I mean, this woman makes us look like we haven't done anything yet, and she's out doing like Tour Divide sections. So she's a very impressive, very fun, very positive person that comes through in a lot of Ryan's films. Dana has an organization, sadly is based on her brother, a guy named Kirk Rocky Derschweiler. And the organization is called KRD. And basically the organization's intent is to help kids and also help kids engage with things like bicycles. So win-win, win-win, win-win-win. So these organizations got together. So Ryan, Dana, the KRD organization, and Priority, and they are going to raffle off a Priority 600X bike. Now, their primary goal was a $30,000 fundraiser, and I think they're going to hit that in less than a week. I think they're going to more than double that. My hope, my guess is around 100,000. I think it's a great organization. I just gave you my history of bikes in my lifetime, and to get a kid engaged with a bike in these days, these times, is a pretty remarkable thing. So I think this raffle, I've never told anyone on this channel to do anything really other than ignore my advice. But in this one situation, don't ignore my advice. I think you should enter this raffle. Now, the Priority, for those of you who don't know that much about bikes, I know most of the people that come to this channel come for photography related stuff, bookmaking related stuff. The Priority 600 is not a bike that you can go to the local store and buy. It's got some very peculiar technology on it that to me is fascinating, and in some ways is basically a roadmap to the future of what bikes are going to be, I think, which no one's asking me for my opinion, but there it is. So the Priority is a 29er drop bar adventure mountain bike. It has flat bars, it's got a front suspension fork, and a very interesting model of front suspension fork. If you don't know about it, take some time and do a little research on it. It's also got a pinion drivetrain and a Gates carbon belt instead of a chain. And for those of you who don't know about bikes, you just blanked out right there. Just know this is really unique, really interesting stuff. If I had a way of getting a pinion gearbox and a Gates carbon drive on my Fargo, I would do that. I don't, so I'm going to be jealous, perpetually jealous for anyone that has it. So this is a very cool bike. They're barely being released right now. It's a $3,500 bike. And the raffle you can enter, I believe the lowest amount you can enter is $10. 10 bucks, 20 bucks, 50 bucks, 75, 100, whatever you can do. For 10 bucks, one, you give money to a great organization and a great cause more than anything else. And remember, if you have means, and I'll throw myself in that category. I have a good job, so I have means. It's part of my responsibility as a human being to give back, to help. And you can do that in a variety of ways. You can do that monetarily. That seems to be the most popular. You can also do it with your time, or you can do it with your expertise. And in some cases, if you're very fortunate, you can do that with all three. I have a friend who's in the financial world. He's very well off and he's very atypical, and he donates his time in all three of those ways. And it's a pretty magical thing to watch in action. So this is a chance to give back. This is a chance to give a teeny bit. And this is a chance to potentially walk away with a very life-changing tool, which would be the Priority 600X. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. That's all I have to say. I'm still taking my trusty notes here, and it's too cold and windy for me. I'm a wuss. I'm not riding today, so I'll be inside making films. And good luck, and I hope you win the raffle.